What's up, guys? Jason Cassity here in San Diego, and I am making this video to talk about the Stop Zillow movement and the new BuyerHunt app just launched over the weekend by Greg Hague down in Arizona. So if you guys are in the ecosystem at all or in the real estate industry, there's a good chance that you've heard of the Stop Zillow movement. It was sweeping Facebook for a while, and Greg Hague is the kind of the ringleader of that. If you've actually been in my ecosystem, you saw that a while back I met Greg and we did a debate show here in San Diego talking about his plan to save real estate and the Stop Zillow movement. He is a big advocate that Zillow is harming the industry. I was adamantly against that position. We had it out. He's actually a very nice guy. He was very cool to get to know. His son reached out to me, very, very nice. And so everything, I want to make sure that everything from this point forward is not seen as some sort of personal attack. We just vary completely on our premises and our thoughts about the real estate industry and where it's going. So at the end of the debate, and the debate was good, we both had good points back and forth, but at the end of the debate, kind of the whole plan to save real estate was that he was creating an app or a new system, a new website that would ultimately stop Zillow. And this weekend that came out, and that was called BuyerHunt. Now table this, because I want to take a moment to address the Stop Zillow thing and why I'm so adamantly against it, just in case you aren't aware of the whole backstory. Stop Zillow was a movement, I guess, of a bunch of agents across the country that signed up, joined the page, donated to this plan to save real estate. And to me, the premise was flawed right away. Just saying stop Zillow, Zillow gets their listings from us, and that was kind of their whole thing, is we're giving away our listings and then they're selling them back to us, and that's killing the industry, yada yada yada. But the whole thing about Stop Zillow just sounds very whiny to me. Had they wanted to get maybe more of a broad, real estate following, they should have said beat Zillow. I could have gotten on board with that, because by beating Zillow, it means you've created something that the consumer prefers over Zillow, and that's just straight, capitalism. I think that should be encouraged. Because if Zillow drops the ball somewhere along the lines and something else can come beat it, then that's better for the consumer. And that was always kind of my premise, that Stop Zillow in some sort of like, they're doing us wrong or something like that was just very, very whiny. And so it started off on the wrong foot. Obviously, agents across the country, if you don't, if you hate Zillow, they receive the listings syndicated from our MLSs. So go to your MLS and petition them. I'm sure it's been done, but the reason that MLSs are still syndicating to Zillow is because I believe the majority of agents still like the service. And we know that the majority of consumers still love Zillow because it's the #1 trafficked real estate website in the world, continuing to grow. Again, I don't want to get into an ad for Zillow. We kind of know where everybody stands on Zillow, but I just want to bring it back to this Stop Zillow movement. So anyways, that kind of addresses that. I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't be opposed to a beat Zillow, because then again, you're bringing something else to the table. Well, that was kind of what Greg was promising. And now nobody knew what it was very secretive, but something that would come along and beat Zillow or replace Zillow, take buyers away from Zillow. And so what unveiled over the weekend was BuyerHunt. And BuyerHunt is basically an app that real estate agents have one end of and real estate consumers have the other end of. And real estate consumers can go onto the app and view properties, similar to Zillow, yada, yada, yada. But the caveat and what makes the special sauce here is that agents, in order to sign up for the app, they have to agree to, once they take a listing, upload it to BuyerHunt first within the hour, so that BuyerHunt buyers can see that before it gets listed on the MLS or a Zillow coming soon, or syndicated to sites. A lot of times here in California, we have a rule that says when you sign a listing, you have to have it on the MLS within 48 hours unless you get a seller exclusion. So unless the seller says it's okay to keep it off for a little bit longer. A lot of agents, including myself, we like to have a little bit of a lead up time to allow us to get the professional photos, video, 3D tours, as well as hypothetically, if we sign a listing on a Saturday, it's not always best to list on a Saturday. Sometimes you want to list on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So I like that caveat of having the lead-in time to your listing. What BuyerHunt would require is that you input the listing to the app within the hour. So now, first of all, if that's the whole thing that he's been raising money for, I think they're dead in the water, because that's a feature. That's not a new platform or anything like that. hypothetically, Zillow could do the same thing, and they already have the user base. So what's going to happen when Zillow goes, if this becomes a thing that worries Zillow, which I don't think it will, but if they said, okay, all Premier agents, you also have to input as a coming soon within the hour, and now BuyerHunt's dead in the water. What's the point? It's not proprietary technology to require your agents to list within an hour on this special site. So it's dead in the water. But secondarily, I don't even think that's good for the seller. Like, what's going to happen? If I sign a listing at your house and I have to put it onto this BuyerHunt app within the hour, how am I going to do professional photography? This is going to encourage a lot of people to upload listings without professional photos, which is the death of the industry for the past 5 years. How many iPhone photos and people in the mirror and stuff like that? That's not best for the seller. That's not representing the home as best as possible. So it's already starting off with a flawed situation. But then on top of that, this is just another step in creating an exclusivity and making real estate agents the gatekeepers of this information, which is exactly the opposite of what the consumers want. Just because Zillow and Realtor.com and to a certain extent Redfin, just because they've changed the way that the home search has been done since back in the days of the MLS books, doesn't mean that real estate agents are going away. Like the Plan to Save Real Estate and the Stop Zillow movement is kind of like boogeyman scaring all their followers. That's not the case. It's just a shift in the way that home buyers search for properties. Stop trying to make us the gatekeepers of this information and take us back to the dark ages of the Zillow, the MLS book days and stuff like that. That is not what's best for the consumer. I think this BuyerHunt app, again, is a feature that anybody could theoretically institute on their Realtor.com or their Zillow and just immediately put out of the water. I don't get why they think this is the long-term play to put Zillow out of their misery. If I'm missing something, I would love the opportunity to correct my wrong here, but this isn't it. And so, I go back and so those are the questions I have about BuyerHunt. That's the situation. I just wanted to share this video with you here on YouTube. Leave a comment below if you have any questions for me. I'll try my best to answer them. And if you're in the BuyerHunt Greg Hague ecosystem and you have an answer or you want to tell me why it's the best possible thing for buyers, please engage with me below and let me know what you think. Reach out to me anytime. Jason Cassity. Bye.